So you probably will get a little notification that this is being recorded. There we go. All right. So thanks so much for joining us. If you are already using our curriculum, you probably already got your box for November for community helpers. We hope that you have received that already. If you haven't ordered it yet, it is not too late. You can absolutely order it. And I have Caitlin with me today. At the end of our presentation of the sneak peek, she's going to share a little bit more information about our curriculum. She's also going to share information about how you can order it if it's something that you're interested in. I have a lot of exciting things to share with you today, so let's go ahead and get started looking at our month ahead of community helpers. So this month, your child is going to have the opportunity to explore people who help in their community and lots of different jobs that are around them each and every day. You can see here that we're going to have 4 weekly investigations. Our first week, we'll be talking about helpers that help us with our health and safety. Then we'll talk about some helpers that are in our own neighborhood before discussing some things that might be in a kind of a city or a downtown, and then creative helpers as well, some different careers that they can find in the creative arts. So here you can see your 4 teacher guides that you'll get this month, and you can see those 4 different weeks represented that way. We do have a couple of basic concepts that we are going to be focusing in on. So the new ones that we will be taking a look at this month are the letters D, J, and U. Our shape will be a triangle and the color will be yellow. We'll take a look at numbers 5 and 6. Our word family will be the an word family. Our sight words will be you, can, and be. And then our pattern will be an ABC pattern. And the character trait that we will explore with our Forest Friends series is resourceful. So lots of exciting things. Of course, in your circle time bag, you are going to have the pieces to update your circle time display. So you'll have the new numbers for your number tree, the new letters, the new calendar that will match your pattern of this month, as well as the shape sack that matches the color and shape, and our new forest friend that you can add to that. You'll also get that little card that has the forest or the character trait on it. A great thing to do is hole punch those cards and put them on kind of one of those rings, and you can have children be able to go back to it, maybe pull out a particular character trait that you might need based on what you're seeing in your classroom. So some of those things you don't want to get rid of, you can save and use throughout the rest of the year. Here you can see you'll also get a theme poster that will show a lot of our community helpers, and we'll use it throughout the month. You can see our calendar here. And I also wanted to point out that during the circle time, you always have that discussion there. And one thing that we encourage you to do is, as children are answering the question and sharing what they know about the daily topic, is to write down the things that they are saying so that they are able to see the words that they're speaking in print as those beginning writing stages emerge. So just a great way to kind of record what they're thinking throughout and let them see that in print. You're also going to get a fun manipulative this month. It is going to be these colored cars, these colored vehicles that you'll use for a variety of different activities. Some of them will come in your, some of the activities will be in your circle time bag, but you'll also pull out this manipulative in a variety of activities throughout the daily bags as well. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into week 1, which is health and safety. So your first day, you are going to be looking and exploring firefighters. You also will notice that in your week 1, not your week 1, my apologies, your lesson 1 bag, you will have the family newsletter in print to be able to be sent home. You'll have a copy for every child that you order for. You'll also have your My Creative Mind in this bag to be able to send home to families to explain the artwork that they did. One of the activities on day 1 or lesson 1 is going to be flame jumping. So getting some of those gross motor movements in there, hopping over a pretend flame that we have here. This is using just scarves, but you can use whatever you have. So tissue paper that you might have, construction paper, anything that you can find that kind of resembles those colors of a flame, that red, orange, and yellow, you can use and practice some of those hopping skills with your children children. Our first creative corner is going to be an invitation to create, where your children are going to use the inspiration photo that you see in the top middle there of flames. And then they are going to use red and yellow paint and a fork to be able to create as their tools to create something that is inspired by that photo. So you see here a variety of different pieces of artwork from the children that they used. It's a great way to use a different tool to paint other than just the paintbrush. So using the fork is really fun for them, but also to talk about, when you're mixing the red and the yellow, what colors are they seeing come from that? So it's a fun one, and always one that the children are loving. Our math activity will be fire station counting. So you will be using that math manipulative during day one. And you'll have different fire stations and different number cards where the children will have to pull the fire trucks into the fire station and be counting them as they go. Lesson 2, or your day 2 bag, is going to be all about the doctor. We're going to do some fun artwork called syringe squirt art. So you will get some plastic syringes that come in your daily discovery bag. And you'll use the inspiration photo that you see kind of on that easel there. And then the children will be able to, some watered down paint or watercolors that you might have that you can mix up. They will be able to make their artwork by sucking up the paint and then dropping it as you see here. It's a really cool activity for children to do. You can see he's standing up and doing it, but they can explore like what happens when I get closer, what happens when I get further away, mixing colors. Lots of fun things that can be done with this invitation to create. And then we are going to be focusing on one of our core concepts, the letter D. So you'll have lots of different strips of paper and we're going to try and put back together the letter D. So how can children using tape, using the paper, recreate the letter D? Based on your children, you can have them focus maybe just on the uppercase or just on the lowercase. You also can see in this picture up in the top corner, you've got your loose letter parts that they can explore and use during this exploration as well. And then lesson 3, we're going to talk about police officers. Our make and play is a super fun one. They'll be making their own police hats. So you see the children here with all of their police hats on. So all of the pieces that you'll need for this will be in your daily discovery bag for children to construct and design their own police hat. Allow them to have that creativity. Everyone's doesn't have to look the same, even when it's a make and play. So as long as they've got their prop for the dramatic play, follow-up activity, they are good to go. And then we'll also continue focusing on the letter D by using our loose letter mat and using some Play-Doh to do some letter D prints. So the children can use their fingerprints to kind of decorate the letter D or construct the letter D on their loose letter mat. And of course, on one side of your mat is going to be the uppercase letter, and then on the other side, you'll have the lowercase letter. So you can differentiate which one your children are doing based on what you're seeing from them. You'll also be introduced to our original storybook during this lesson. Bella and the Umbrella is the hardcover storybook that you will have in this lesson bag. It is such a sweet story about Bella, who loses her umbrella, and she is going all through town trying to find her umbrella. And as she's doing that, she is meeting all of these helpers in her community. So a great way to introduce your children to the different members of the community. So you'll be reading that during your story time on this day. The next day, we're going to talk a little bit about the dentist. So talking about the dentist is a fun one for children. Lots of exciting things that they'll do. This will be the first day that you'll use one of your I Spy sheets that is included during your creative corner. And we're not just going to color our I Spy sheet this month. We're actually going to be painting it. And instead of using a paintbrush, we're going to use a toothbrush. So all of the letter D's or all of the pictures that start with the The letter D sound, we are going to use our toothbrush and brush that one. So you can see here some examples of that. Of course, you do have your I Spy glasses for them to explore. It is also helpful for those children that maybe just are not ready for those letter sounds yet. You've got those pictures that kind of pop out of the middle of your I Spy glass as well. And those toothbrushes will come in your bag. So no need to have to go out and buy a bunch of toothbrushes or use their toothbrushes. Those will be in your bag for this day. We're also going to explore our theme poster. Where is the dentist is our activity, and you'll use your theme poster, which is going to be in your circle time bag, and the different I Spy glasses to search for different things, different colors, different people through that activity. And then this one is a super fun one, probably a favorite of my children, is the D is for dentist. So in this one, you're going to use your letter cards for your cube that you have, and you will also be using the toothbrushes, and you'll want to get an ice cube tray. If you don't have an ice cube tray, you can use a muffin tray, you can use little cups, whatever you have on hand is what you'll want to use, and some shaving cream. And the children will be brushing those teeth, which are the ice cube trays, and searching for the letter that's in there. So you can see the letter D at the bottom. This one can get a little messy. So if you are in an area of the country where it's still nice outside, this might be one you want to take outside. But it is a super fun one for children to be exploring and searching for the letter D for dentist. And then lesson 5 will end our first week at looking at bus drivers. So some of your children, if they do take a bus to school, or if they have seen a bus before, this is one that should connect with them, and they should have some background knowledge on. They will each get the materials to make their little bus, and then have a clothespin to create their own little bus driver. They also will be introduced to their My Little Journal this month. So remember, your My Little Journal can be used throughout the month during small group time to explore the basic concepts of the month. But it will come up during this lesson for them to do the cover of it, designing that. And then there's also an activity on the back of it that they can do. And then you can choose based on your schedule and routine of when you want to do the specific things that are on the inside of your little journal, such as tracing things, drawing different things with the shape and color of the month. We'll also do some matching games, matching buses. So instead of just normal cards, we'll have some school buses that have numbers and shapes on them, and children will explore matching those. You can change this up however you want to do. So you can have it on the floor, and children can kind of just pick up and play almost like a memory game. But keep in mind, if you want to add in, if you've got some wiggly kiddos, you can always put the different buses around your room, and then we can search for them, and then we can do the matching. So you can integrate that as well. Our second week, we'll be talking about helpful community members that are in our neighborhood. So we'll start with our mail carrier. Each child will get the opportunity to make their own mail carrier bag. They will get to create it and kind of put it together using the string to lace it together. And then there's lots of different dramatic play activities that they can do with it. Different things that they can practice delivering letters to their friends in the classroom and things like that. So it is definitely a favorite of the children. Another activity that you'll do is delivering postcards. So there'll be different postcards that represent different areas in a neighborhood, such as the fire station, the police station, the hospital, and the children will get to deliver that postcard to the appropriate location. So again, another great way. You can see here that this child just has the different locations and she's sorting them. But if you want to do it in a way that you have the different locations set up around your classroom, and then the children put the postcard in their mail bag and deliver it over to that, you can absolutely integrate those things together to make it a little bit pulling in more skills. And then they'll also do some mailing D, J, and U. And so here you can see you'll want to have some little boxes. It doesn't matter what kind of boxes you have. It can be a tissue box. It can be a box from Amazon that you just happen to have. It can also just be a bowl. So whatever you have, you'll want to label them with the letters, and then using your phonic picture cards that come in your circle time bag. After those are cut up, the children will deliver them into the box that is appropriate. So the drum will go in the letter D, for example. And then we'll move on to construction workers. So our children will do a fun activity. They'll each get a little hammer that is made out of cardboard to practice a game called pounding syllables. So we'll introduce that to them and explore what syllables are, and use our little hammer to pound out the syllables. They'll also use some foam shapes that are in your bag to create some different buildings. So you have the shape, kind of the design mats that are going to be in your bag. But of course, your children, if you want them to design something on their own without that design mat, you can take it a step further and have them design their own. So they can be as creative as they want with those foam pieces and the buildings that they're going to design. And then lesson 8, we're going to talk about teachers. And this is also where we're going to introduce the raccoon finds his balance forest friend story. So your magnetic pieces will come along with that in this particular bag. We are going to be doing our I Spy of where is J. So similar to what we did for our previous letter last week, we'll be exploring J during this activity. We're also going to be playing a game called Roll the Apple. So you'll have cube cards that you'll cut up and put into your pocket cube, and it'll have different shapes on there. And as each child is rolling the pocket cube, they'll be able to color in that particular shape or that particular color depending on what it lands on. So a super fun one. They can play this together. They can play it individually. It's also a great one to keep out for the rest of the week, because this is something that they can continue to go back to. Another one that they can continue to go back to is building words. So you'll get these letter strips, or these word strips in different letters that you can put onto blocks if you want to, or just kind of have them out in a basket. And the children will then be able to select a word that they want to create, and they are going to then search for the different letter pieces and build that word together. So there are going to be themed words like teacher and mail, so things that are connected to the theme that we are working on. For lesson 9, we're going to talk about recycling and people who help us recycle. Of course, we'll pull into our forest friend story. So children will have the opportunity to do their listen and draw activity. This is one where, again, we want the children's words that they're saying for us to kind of transcribe them onto the paper so that they're able to see their spoken word in print. If you have older preschoolers, of course, allowing them to write as many words as possible is always a great thing. But if you have those younger preschoolers, don't skip the words part, just maybe write it out for them, whatever it is that they're saying. We'll also do a game called Sort the Recyclable. So the children will use some pattern guides and be able to sort out the things that we can recycle. And then lesson 10, last one for this week, is going to be all about the plumber. We've got some really exciting activities. Our invitation to create is going to be a pipe sculpture. So you'll have straws that are kind of like the bigger ones. They're not, you can use smaller ones too, but you can use the big ones, small ones, and children will be able to design their own pipe sculpture, being inspired by the photo that you see here. So allowing them to just explore, talking about, you know, if they're connecting, what might happen, all of those fun and exciting things and tips will be in your teacher's guide. We'll also do an activity called piping letters, where you're going to focus on the letters J and D. You will use the phonics picture cards that are in your circle time bag, in your pocket cube, and then any type of puff ball that you might have. If you don't have any type of those puff balls, you can also just use some wadded up paper, whatever you want to use. You could use your fire trucks that you get with your kit. And what happens is you roll the pocket cube and then you'll see what picture it is. If it's the drum, you're going to drop a puffball or whatever you're using in the pipe that has the letter D on it. And then you'll go back and forth until you're done with all of your puffballs, or start over again, however you want to do it. Again, another super fun one that you could leave up all month long for children to continue to go back and explore. Our third week, we are going to take a look at some jobs that might be downtown. We're going to start with a factory worker. Our community challenge for this one is going to be called Working Side by Side. So you will be able to side by side together as a community create something using Play-Doh and lots of different loose parts. So each child gets to add something, and then they get to pass it to the person next to them. And by the end, you have a whole community tool or piece of artwork, whatever it is that you're making, ready to go. You'll also do another invitation to create called Robot Tinkering, where the children will really just have a bunch of different loose pieces, like a cup, eyeballs, lots of different construction papers, tape, all different types of things. And they get to create whatever type of robot they want to create. So really allowing them to make those decisions and explore what works and what doesn't as they engineer and design it. Children will also get to play a game called Teddy Bear Factory. So you will be able to help them play this game with using the different color pieces. You'll also use your pocket cube. There's a couple of different ways that you can play this game. So keep in mind to take a look at, what is the simplified way and what is the more challenging way that you can introduce this game based on the children that you have in your classrooms. They also are going to do a little bit of a letter factory. So they're going to design letters using Play-Doh and loose parts with those loose letter mats that you have there. Our next activity is going to be all about chefs. So lots of different ways that we can explore that. We are going to each make our own chef's hat during our make and play. And then we're going to use that chef hat that they have created for a game called May I Take Your Order? Children will have a paper plate. They will have a list of different food items where they'll get to ask their classmate what they want to eat. And then the chef will be able to create that on a plate, and there's different pictures of the different types of foods that are on there. So just a really great dramatic play, but also incorporating some writing skills by doing the check marks, some reading skills by reading the pictures or the words, lots of skills that are integrated into this really fun activity. They'll also use the puzzle that comes along with your monthly program. The puzzle will be a picture from Bella and the Umbrella. And so they'll have an opportunity to mix up that puzzle, and then using some different kitchen tools. There are some suggested here, but use, again, whatever you have. They will be able to pull out a piece of the puzzle and assemble that puzzle together. Our next downtown community helper is the banker. So they are each going to get the opportunity to make their own wallet, where they're going to add some pretend money into it. And then that pretend money can be used for a variety of other different activities. This is when we'll use our money stories. So you'll have money story problems that the children will be able to use those pretend dollars to solve and figure out together. Remember that for your money story problems, you do have 2 challenge ones for your older children, or for your children that are developmentally ready for those challenge problems. And then they're going to do some piggy bank work with our letters. So this is a super fun one. There will be a piggy bank that has each letter on it that we're focusing on: D, J, and U. And then we'll use, again, our pocket cube with those phonics letter cards. And every time we roll a picture that begins with that letter sound, you will add a coin or whatever you might have to that particular piggy bank. Here you can see that they are actually using real money, but you do not have to if you don't want to. You could use any type of tool that you might have. All right, let's take a look here. Our next downtown job is going to be the hairdresser. So again, we are going to be doing our I Spy for the letter U, but instead of just coloring it in, instead we're going to give the letter U a new hairdo. So they're going to add different colored hair or different styles of hair to the letters U that are on there as they search for them. They also will be able to give letter U a hair trim or a new hairstyle by using loose paper scraps that you might have. They can cut it up and style you by adding them on there. They can do kind of whatever style they want to, but by creating the letter U with whatever pieces that they're using. And then my favorite one from this day is called How Much Hair? So in this one, you will want to have a photo of the child if possible. And you'll want to, if you can, try and get the photo so it doesn't look like they have any hair. Because they're going to create their own hair using Play-Doh. And then they have the opportunity to use different tools to cut the hair, to be able to create different styles. So any type of Play-Doh tool that you particularly have is a good one to pull out for this. You can see here, these are pictures of the children. If you can't do that, you can absolutely just quickly draw, a little picture of a person with no hair, and they can design hair for that person. So that's just an option to add the picture of the actual child. And then our last downtown job is our shopkeeper. Children are going to be able to make a U umbrella. So they'll be using a coffee filter and some paint that they'll be able to design their umbrella. And then they'll have a popsicle stick and a letter U that will make the handle for it for their umbrella. We'll also explore some would you rather. So would you rather buy your dog a teddy bear or glasses? So allowing children to give their opinion. Would you rather buy a notebook or a chocolate bar? So you can tally up all of those and talk about, who would rather do one thing versus the other and how many. So fun way for them to share their opinion, but also pull in some math skills as well. And then our last week, we're going to talk about some different creative careers. As I mentioned, I think I mentioned it during our first week, the My Creative Minds will always be in the first bag of the week. So you see that listed here. We don't suggest that you send them all home on day one. We suggest you send them home as you're sending home or displaying the particular piece of art that they did that day. So lesson 16 is going to be all about musicians. Children are going to get to make their own microphone. So get ready for some karaoke singing in your classrooms. They're also going to be able to play the piano. So using some examples of pianos, we've got some different things that they can play. If you have like a little piano or a little keyboard in your classroom, of course, pull that out and incorporate that into this activity to bring a little bit more music into it. And then we'll also do some musical letters. So using the letter or the pocket cube again with some of our phonics cards again, we will write the letter D, J, and U on the egg, fill it up with some rice or some beans, whatever you might have to make it kind of a rattle. And then as you roll the cube, the children will decide which egg or which musical egg they'll be able to shake based on the picture. And then lesson 17, we'll be talking all about actors. The children will get to make their own mask that they can create using a variety of different feathers and tools. And there are lots of different loose pieces that are provided, but don't stop there. If you want to pull out more things from your art center, you can absolutely include more options for your children if you'd like to. They're also going to do some word charades using their word decoder book that they've got here. And then they're going to do some dress up with our community helpers. So all of our community helpers here are all searching for the pants that match their top and their hat. And so you've got all of these pieces for the children to match the appropriate hats and pants to the appropriate community helper. It also has numbers on there. So if they want to match the numbers, that's another way that you could do this activity. Lesson 18 is going to be all about dancers. The children are going to do an invitation to create that's called Dancing Paintbrush. So you'll be using some music to inspire what it is that they are creating. We'll also do a dance cube. So this one has some different actions on the cube, such as gallop to somewhere yellow, tiptoe to the letter D in the room. So pulling in some of those gross motor movements, getting them dancing to something that starts with the letter J in the room. And of course, using the music that you have that is provided to you on the CD that's also in your Circle Time bag or streamed online. Lesson 19, we're going to talk all about authors. So the children will get their opportunity to be the author of their own postcard. They'll also have the time to explore the I Can Read book of the month. Each child will get a copy of this book. They'll also get the sight word pointers. And the book is called What Can You Be? And it explores a variety of different things that children might want to be when they grow up. At the very end, it says, what do you want to be? So children can then explain and be the author of that last page of what they want to be when they grow up. And then our last lesson is all about being an illustrator. So the children will get the opportunity to learn how to draw a couple of different animals, a dog and a cat, using just very basic shapes. So they can design their own animal to include in a story that they may do at a different time. They also are going to have the opportunity to do their portfolio page, so a memory of that particular month that we just learned. So giving them that reflection time to be able to also then send home to families to share what we did that month. I do also want to point out that we do have those STEAM stations. Each day there will be a suggested STEAM station. The STEAM stations all begin with that big question. Some of them have some inspiration photos. If you did not order the STEAM pack add-on where all of this is printed out for you, that is okay. You still have the digital copy of it on your member resources. Some of the super fun ones this month, children will be able to do some sensory play by pressing money into Play-Doh and kind of making that impression in the Play-Doh to be able to see all the details on the money. For our construction workers, there's one where we're exploring different nuts and bolts and being the different sizes and being able to use our fine motor skills to kind of screw that onto it. And then another fun one, which is a favorite, is being able to play dentist and using tweezers to be able to pull out some teeth from some Play-Doh, using different Play-Doh to do that. So I encourage you, if you haven't done any of our STEAM stations before, to try one out this month. They are really fun for children to explore, and you can integrate them into many of the centers that you might already have. So thank you so much for joining us today. We are so excited for the month ahead of Community Helpers. As I mentioned, if you have not ordered yet, it is not too late. You can absolutely still order a box of our curriculum for this upcoming month. As you can see, there are lots of fun things that we're going to be exploring and incorporating into each and every day. So if you are not using our curriculum or you just want to learn a little bit more about it, I encourage you to stick around for another 15 minutes or so. Caitlin is going to explain how you can get started with our curriculum and just explore a little bit more about our curriculum and what is included each and every month. So thank you again so much for your time, and we can't wait to see what you guys come up with as you explore Community Helpers.